Wonderful day to you. In my first video this year, I opened up the space for you to ask some questions, and many of you did, and I've answered a lot of the questions in the comments. But today I had a question that I felt like I'm just going to answer in a video, so let's get right into it. The question is, so many people are struggling, running away from their emotions and chasing things in the world as distractions. Why do you think humans seem to always gravitate towards this sort of solution in quotation marks? How can we learn to feel the things we need to feel in order to release the pain from our past and not to be afraid of it? I really enjoyed listening to you. Thank you. Thank you as well. Jacob from Jacob. So, why do I think humans tend to see a solution? The questioner already put solution in quotation marks, so he's already aware that it's not a real solution, but we still tend to go for these either distractions to not feel something uncomfortable, or chasing things to be constantly looking for more, or chasing for more. This is a really broad topic, obviously, that we could spend hours on diving into that, but I want to give a few fundamental ideas about why this happens. And the first step is, as mentioned in the question, the past, which plays a role in why this is happening. The past is not so important for your process right now, but it can help us understand why these things are even happening within us right now at this moment. So usually these patterns of not wanting to feel certain emotions, distracting with them through food, through entertainment, through smoking, drugs, even through socializing and these kind of things. Pretty much anything in the world that people do can be used as a distraction, or it can be just done in a joyful and unattached and a happy way. So it's not really about the thing that we distract with, it's more how we're using it, or how we're spending our time with things. And these emotions that we're trying to get away from or not feel stem from our childhoods, where so much of our emotional world is being formed, so much of our worldview and everything is being formed during this very vulnerable state of childhood. And a child has a lot of needs, because a child is not, for a long time, is not capable of surviving just by himself in the world. A child really needs caretakers in order to survive. So this means, for a child, situations where needs are not being met within the body can create circumstances for the body that feel life-threatening, even though in today's society, sometimes in our Western society, they might not be life-threatening, and parents often might underestimate what they're putting a child through, because they know, oh, it's not so bad, oh, we're gonna survive, because we have created structures where survival is often quite easily taken care of. But our body often still responds to certain needs not being met with survival mechanisms. And these are often emotions like fear, for example, being in a state of anxiety when your parents are leaving you somewhere in an uncertain situation or something, or leaving you somewhere with people where you don't feel safe as a child. There's obviously very different levels of these kind of emotional traumas. Some might be smaller, Some might be very intense, very painful and abusive traumas that stem from really abusive relationships. So there's all kinds of varying degrees of emotional trauma that people carrying within themselves, and there's almost no children. Even my own son, who's just almost 5 years old, he carries certain emotions with him that are there because as a parent you're going through your own processes, and not every situation you're always managing perfectly or having the full space and everything for the child's needs. But you can always, like, it's never too late in that sense. Like when my son now gets really angry about something, and this is natural evolution as well for a child to go through different kinds of emotional states. And it's just very important that children get this space offered to be angry, then to be allowed to be angry. And this is a big part where we as adults now, when we had often childhoods, me myself as well, where it wasn't allowed in a sense to be angry, or where it was kind of like, stop screaming, stop, don't be like that. We're learning that it's not okay to express and feel certain emotions. Especially young men, young boys are often seen, don't be sad, don't cry, stop crying. So that's an emotion, sadness, that is expressed through crying, is often an emotion that gets very suppressed, especially in boys and in men. And your body basically just reacts, your body and mind at some point just react and create coping mechanisms that help you go through this, because you do not have the caretakers or the environment around you that helps you go through all of these learnings as a child, through learning your emotional world and expressing it and feeling it. And when you don't have anyone that guides you through it, because they themselves might have not had that and are not capable, haven't learned how to do that, then you create certain coping mechanisms, because otherwise at some point you wouldn't really function. You're expected to function in a certain way, so you create mechanisms that kind of let you function in a certain way, and repressing, suppressing certain kind of emotions. And over time, as this goes on for a long time, through childhood for example, at some point we get very disconnected, or we can get very disconnected with our emotions. And for me personally, I made the experience that at a certain age, when I was young, when I was a teenager, at a certain point there was very little emotional world, very little distinction between different emotions, where I wouldn't even be able to express what's going on. I'd just be, there wouldn't even be a clear, am I happy, I don't know. Like, just not very connected with how I actually feel. I wouldn't have been able to express it. I wouldn't have been able to really say, I'm sad about this. I wasn't even crying for years. And the first tears rolling down my face when I got in touch with that again, when I went on a process, when I went to Thailand, I worked on my body through all kinds of different things, diet and meditation and all these different tools. And the first times I got in contact again with like the real emotional depth within me, I was like, wow. I was actually fascinated. I was, wow, like, I haven't felt this for many years. So it's a good first step to realize we have created these things. Everything that we do that we feel like it's not really serving us, but more distracting us, or being a meaningless chase for something, we are still acting out patterns that we have created when we were young and needs weren't met, and it's not really even our fault. We can stop blaming ourselves, and we can look that now we are adults and we are capable of taking care of ourselves and surviving by ourselves. We don't need anyone else to take care of our needs, and we can slowly work on letting all these kind of different mechanisms and patterns that we've created, releasing them and letting them go. And then there was the second part in the question, how do we start doing that? And that's a very, very good question. First of all, is we can look and see, if we see that certain things we're doing as a kind of distraction, that's already a first step. And we can recognize every time that we're choosing something, we can take a little moment and just ask ourselves, why do I feel the need to do that now? Why do I feel the urge to order junk food now, to smoke something, to drink, just a simple why. Why is always good. Always start with why. Just an observation, no judgment. No, oh, this is bad, I shouldn't be doing that. Oh, this is good, I should do this. Oh, I should have done this instead. No, just a simple why. Seeing within yourself, why do I feel attracted to that? And at some point, we might actually get an answer that is like, oh, because I felt sad, because there was something triggered me, something happened, or because I felt angry or frustrated, and we get in touch with some of these emotions. And then one of the big things for me on my journey was really changing diet and these kind of things, like really supporting your body and being vital and healthy, because then these emotions get space. They want to come up. They always want to come up, but if we're constantly kind of like drugged down with actual drugs or junky food, all of them, then it's really hard to even feel properly. It's hard to feel your body properly and your emotions properly when you're constantly on a sugar high, on this and that, on processed foods. So food is quite a big part of that, and a good step to reduce processed foods and really go for more freshness, as much freshness as possible, longer times of not eating, like intermittent fasting, for example, waiting for longer when you wake up, give the body time, become more aware of the body and the body's needs. It's a good first step to look into that. Right, that's the kind of fundamentals I wanted to talk about for this question. I hope you enjoyed it. If there's more questions coming on top of that, the room is always open now. Put in the comments. We'll create a kind of flow where questions are coming. I'll answer them in a video, and we keep on going, keep on learning, and keep on flowing on this journey together. Alright, I wish you a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.